call the meeting to order. But everyone knows meetings being recorded on Microsoft Teams and participation in the meeting is consent to be recorded and we broadcast. The meeting recording can be seen on, will be posted later on Culver's YouTube site. And if your phones are turned on, mute them. That would be great.
So I'll start off with the roll call. Karen Schumann,
Present.
Marty Oosterbahn,
Present.
Gary Perrick, present, Sally Ricciardi,
Present.
Bill Clevenger,
Present.
and Tony is not present.
I just heard a door.
No, it's not Tony, so. Don't sit down because we're going to get up for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't want you to have to jump back and forth. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for the regular meeting, July 11th, 2022. Have a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes from the joint meeting, we don't have as yet, and we will postpone that until the next meeting.
Motion to approve.
Well, we're gonna to approve postponing it, you mean?
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Postponing.
Do you want a motion to postpone?
Nah. I
Do
don't
we
think so.
need a motion?
No. Next item on the agenda is the town manager report.
Sure thing. Yeah, the first item is the tip creation for South Main and Tamarack parcels. When I had Phil Facenda reviewing the resolution for the housing project, I talked to him about getting this going. He thought that was a good idea based on this construction schedule we had come up with for the project. So basically, I think last time he did this work, he gave us an actual proposal, which had his usual rate, and I won't take advantage of you. I'm working on this. He has to do the exact same process we went through last year when we took properties out of the TIF. So I just want your authorization to let him go ahead and work on establishing the new TIF and getting that started at that same rate as last year.
Is it going to be a residential tip or just a?
It'll just be a TIF area, and if we have to establish residential and part of it, we will. And that'll be a separate. It'll be part of this process, but he's still figuring out how to do that based on however they do their expenditure agreement versus bond. But yeah, I think he will probably do this as a PUD. You can have a PUD in a TIF. And in our case, we can have residential. And I think there are parcels that won't be allowed to be resident, like the rental ones could be, if it's single family home, then we have to go through an approval process for that.
It's easier
We'll
just
get
to
to
do
that when we get to it, yeah.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve having our attorney Phil send a get started on making a new TIF for the annex property, south end?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Lake Max Phase 2 is closed, and Lake Max Phase 3 is getting ready to enter a more active stage. Mike Reese is going to set up a meeting in September for this project and the state road or Slate and Jefferson Trail sidewalks that are going in. We've already done a public engagement event on this, but this will be to look at preliminary design and getting other input. Broadband fiber, you guys approved funding this project and signed a resolution for it. I have notified CERT that this has been funded by the CRC. So we will start working on a contract, and my plan is to continue to have the broadband fiber task force review that because they know what was in that RFP, but we'll also have your attorney review that. And when I talked to him about the resolution the other day on the phone and also about the TIP area, I told him that you all might want his eyes on this contract. We will not sign a contract without you all reviewing that, just so you know, because you're the ones funding it. And I'll keep that in front of the council as well. So the more eyes we have, the better.
Yeah.
The READI grant application, I just pushed submit right before this meeting. We've turned everything in for that. We did get support letters from MCEDC, from Karen at the school. We also had support letters from Develop Culver Main Street and Crossroads Culver Housing Committee, as well as the Marshall County Crossroads Housing Committee. So where there's been data on housing, we've got support letters from all of those entities, which was really nice. One thing I appreciate about Culver is how nimble people are about getting stuff like this done at the 11th hour. They gave so little time for this grant that to be able to have a resolution, support letters, and a grant application filled out in 3 days, it's pretty reflective of the community we live in. Crossroads Culver still working on the comp plan. And then Regional Stellar Park Project, we did have a construction meeting since your last meeting here, and basically worked out with Thomas Excavating what is required of that pre-construction meeting. Your grant administrator comes to that, explains the federal rules about following Davis-Bacon range, et cetera. And the only concern with that project right now is the lead time it takes to get that playground equipment ordered. We're being told it's a really long time. So that may not come in until November, and depending on weather, we'll either pour the slab for that or we'll move into spring timeframe. We have a year to complete the project without getting an extension from Okra, so I think we're okay. It's just we really wanted to get this done by spring, so next year we could start the year already done. But we're kind of tied to supply chain, see how it works out. Just an update on the teen space. Remember, I've been talking about this because we know that the kids want some availability of concessions, you know, and we don't normally staff the concession stand during the winter, so we're going to try to figure out how to do that best, and also what working hours, what supervision is there. These are some of the things that we need to put some critical thinking into on our end. Because, you know, it's teenagers, you really need to think that through. So we're working on that. And now that our busy summer season is over, then we'll sort of attack that in place. I think that's all I have for this round.
I have a question. Going back to the broadband fiber. We need you have a statement in here about engage your attorney or the town attorney, whichever we prefer. Do we have to make a motion to that? Just for which attorney we're going to use?
Well, isn't the town negotiating? I mean, the town will sign off on the contract. So the town needs to decide who's going to represent them.
Although, do you guys, when you have funded big projects like this, has the CRC acted in that role, Karen, or do we act in that role on behalf of CRC?
It's kind of varied from project to project. It's been the town. The stormwater project, that was the CRC.
And Jen ended up having to get involved in that one, if I remember right.
But that was more of a, out of.
Yeah.
Wheelhouse.
And I'm-
That was more.
I don't know if broadband is, is
Right. I'm thinking maybe we do use the town attorney because it is the town really contracting with their funding as the backup.
right.
Because we're gonna be the ones trying to hold them accountable if, you know, there's some sort of issue or, and they're gonna have to get their permitting done through us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe an approval of, but maybe that's just the town's paying that.
Maybe you
Legal bill.
check in the next month, because we're not gonna sign it when we sign a
Mhm.
contract, but maybe just double check with Jim. And if he's thinks it's good, then
Yeah.
go that route, and if we need to get it.
Yeah, so I don't think you need a motion for anything at this point.
On the resolution, regular new business, I had resolution for the READI grant update. It was written. I think everybody received a copy of that resolution, the updated version that just was sent in. Made a few changes. Do you have any questions while Jimmy's here? She talked with Phil and I'm getting.
I read it and signed it, but I don't know that I've got a copy,
Yeah, I read it and
it's,
signed it.
but I don't know that I've got a copy.
I think it was electronically sent to us, but
Okay, and who sent it?
I did.
You sent it?
Yeah.
I really don't remember receiving one either.
I'll double
Yeah.
check to make sure it's correct. He basically changed it to be
You
broader.
spoke to the changes or some of the things
Yeah.
that were talked about, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a broader contracting that he said it should be prepared for ready and not be so specific as to what, that anything could get paid for through the ready dollars, that he didn't need to specify like utilities or percentage. And he said it would be more flexible on both ends if we keep it broader. So that's basically what he
And
edited out.
that's what you sent, so I did.
Yeah.
I did get it too. I remember now. Thank
I
you.
could send you though his marked up copy if you want to see it against the original, because that was.
No need.
But you might want to just go ahead and vote to approve the edited copy. You guys approved it pending his edits. and
Yeah.
Any changes he would have, but if you want to approve the final one, you might just say there were edits and we authorize that.
Yeah, because we all saw the edits. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Don't move.
Now second that, sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think we effectively did that by signing.
Right. I would hope to be approved in this year.
Yeah, put it in the minutes.
Yeah,
Your first
that way it's
motion
in-
last, at that point, we covered it because we made it pending his edits. But at least this way you have approval of both versions.
Jimmy, could you refresh my memory on the Lake Max Phase 3 timing? The actual construction, is that next year, 2024?
2024.
2020.
Actually, and that one, and Slade Street Jefferson will be that way too.
Okay,
They sometimes will move you out a calendar year depending on their budget. So we're set aside money, so sometimes that's like an easy way for them.
So it was 2023 and they've moved them out to 2024.
And now they'll go into a phase like post-environmental work, they'll go
Right.
into the design. And if we had to acquire land or get an easement, that's what's next. and they will do the easement agreement with the academy. The easement agreement the town did was so we could put water utility in part of this trail area. While we've got it dug up, we want to fix a water problem on the north end of town. But we can't make that agreement with them. It has to go through the NDOT process. So that'll be the next phase.
You mean the easement for the trail?
Yeah.
We can't do that in
They
depth.
do right of way and acquisition agreements after environmental.
Okay. Any other questions? Moving on then. You've all received the June and July financial reports.
If you want to hold off approving those, I'm woefully behind on reconciling for June and July with everything else going on. So hopefully by your next meeting, things will have calmed down and I'll be able to get caught up.
That would always be good.
I would
Things
think
would calm down.
You can only wish, but I mean, I don't think there's any issues with what you have.
Now,
because you're pretty,
we all,
pretty forward on what you receive and what your expenses, but
yeah,
I like it all to be cleaned up before you all approve it.
the financials that you sent from July were fine, so.
At least I know that's where I don't have to go.
You want to double check everything, that's fine with me. Be fine with the rest of us. On old business, do I have approval? To approve the claims,
So move.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And those did not include the Troyer. Those would be
I got the Troyer group
next month.
invoices about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
You didn't want to try and squeeze it in? Fine. Did you, I sent out a copy of the revised revision for the Culver Redevelopment Commission Façade Grant Program. I sent out the one that had Marty's changes in it today. I was kind of late at getting that out. You take a look at. This is in that first line. And it's basically the same kind of call. But the basic idea of the major change, some of it's just verbiage, adding the gazebo pergola or armada trellis to the full project. Just clarifying some of the other things. Major change on completion of the project, all invoices will be submitted to the CRC for reimbursement to the contractor at 50% of the lowest bid submitted. That's an addition. Where before we had to pay for the entire project up front, and then the individual that had applied was getting.
Haven't seen it yet.
Or the.
What do we do
Cavalier colors.
with a building that sits on a corner? In other words, throw my building out as an example. I mean, Harvard's on Main Street and there's also a side on Marmont. But if they wanted to do anything on Marmont,
Well, facade is the actual the building. I'm not sure that it's necessarily just one side of the building.
I'm just asking for clarification. I've been always confused about that, whether, somebody that was on a corner could have the side of the building qualify for a facade grant.
Yeah, I would think as long as they have permission of the owner of the building.
Well, yeah,
that
but I
would
mean, we
I
consider-
think your, for instance, Collins has real estate.
Yeah.
There, if they wanted to put a big sign on parking lot side,
yeah.
on the Marmont side, as long as they got permission from the owner.
Oh, well, yeah, they have to get permission, but I'm just saying, in other words, we would consider the side of a building.
Be inclusive either side.
Yeah.
Inclusive by the
Yeah,
side.
right.
No, I just wanted clarification for my own
Well,
purpose.
one of the things that's included is masonry work and tuck pointing. Would be rather pointless if you were trying to work on the building to only do the front. If you had tuck pointing that needed to be done on the side as well. So,
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
not a problem. Anyone want to make a motion to accept this or make any changes or?
I'll move that we accept the revised language of the facade grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, now that we've passed it, I did have a question about the language. You can't, it's not for work that's done before the application or completed before the application. What about like an emergency facade? If you had a leaky roof, you're forced into doing something. You can't just put a tarp over it and wait till the CRC votes on it. I'm just wondering, has that ever come up, this sort of
Well, we
emergency?
ran into that with Compass where they
That's right.
had some leaks.
Mhm.
But rather than, past the week, they started and just did the entire roof
Mhm.
before they applied for the grant. They had applied, but before we approved it, they
Mhm.
just had all the work done and it was completed prior. And not wanting to set a precedent where people that had not,
Okay, that's fine.
we
Now I recall that episode.
we didn't approve that portion of the grant. We do have a side grant request from Washboard Laundromat. I did one copy. I think you all got a copy of it. I talked to her on the phone today and she's out of town, so she can't be. But she had said that the one that she wants to go with is which is also the lowest price. The World Graphics. That the letters would be $725. The install was $385. The other one was in the worth almost $5,000. And then they would have to try and install it or get somebody to install it for them. And then the roof that she had. She has one price at $9,330 and a second one for $23,380. And she said she was quite satisfied with the lower. One.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be too. It looks like it's pretty much the same.
Huh.
So anyway, does anyone want to look at this again?
That'd be
I totaled it all up with the lower bids. And the total came out to $10,440. And 50% of that would be 5,220. So. Do I have a motion to accept?
I would move
the
to
lower-
accept the lower bid.
Let's second that, sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Unanimous.
Yeah, I didn't hear you. So,
Oh, no, I was an aye.
okay. Might have been my ears too. I will let her know. Next item is public input. Is there any public input?
Kick the can down the road a little farther with the Main Street rooftop lighting, anything there?
No, I did not get anywhere on that. I know who the installer was, but I don't know. I do believe that the last time that it needed to be repaired. Thinking that this is.
Well, if you need a volunteer, I'll go. I don't mind. I really like to see it.
I definitely won't volunteer. When my brother was adjusting the antenna on our roof, he says, I need a hand here, Sally. He says, let go of the chimney. But. So, any other public input? Member input? Gary, do you have anything?
Nope.
Tony?
No, I apologize for being late, first of all. We meeting at 5, I thought we met at 5:30. Okay.
Well, we split the 5 o'clock and 5:30 to
Okay,
5:15.
5:15. That's gonna be
people. have-
Standard now, 5:15.
Yeah,
I have nothing.
okay. And I don't have anything other than my apologies for forgetting to check that. I have a motion to adjourn the claims.
Don't move.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
32 minutes.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
47, but then I realized